Today we're going to make some Anzac biscuits. Let's get started.
Step number 1, preheat our oven to 160 degrees using the fan forced mode.
Step number 2, prepare your baking trays. Place 1 sheet of baking paper on each tray.
Step number 3, we're going to incorporate our dry ingredients to our bowl, starting with 1 cup of plain all-purpose flour. Step number 4, we're incorporating 1 cup of rolled oats to our flour mix. Step number 5, we're adding 1 cup of desiccated coconut. Desiccated coconut is much finer than shredded coconut, and it's okay if you drop extra bits in on the table like I have. What a mess! Step number 6, we're adding half a cup of firmly packed brown sugar. Step number 7, we're adding 1/4 cup of fine white caster sugar. Step number 8, using a wooden spoon, give it a really good stir, making sure you get rid of any of those sugar or flour lumps in your mix. You want this nice and consistent. Now I have made a bit of a mess on the table, so it's time for me to pack away my dry ingredients, give my work area a wipe down, ready for our next steps using our wet ingredients. Step number 9, I collect a microwave safe bowl and a set of electric scales. Now it's time for us to add our 125 grams of butter. Today I'm using Nuttelex, a brand of margarine. This is to ensure that my mix is going to be vegan. Now if you haven't used electric scales before, it's really important to put your microwave safe bowl on your scales before switching the scales on. Otherwise it will add the amount of weight that the bowl is to your actual content. So instead of saying 125 grams of butter, it might say 300 grams because it's adding the weight of the bowl as well. Now you can see I've taken out a few other bits. I scooped out too much margarine, so I just had to put some back. Step number 10, we are adding 2 tablespoons of golden syrup. Now golden syrup's really sticky and sometimes I find it quite difficult to get off the spoon. You're welcome to, if you'd like as well, sometimes heating up your tablespoon with either a little bit of hot water or even butter using the same spoon as you did previously. It helps it come off the spoon easier. I also use the little teaspoon I've got on the side there to actually scrape out any remaining golden syrup from my spoon. Step number 11, we are adding 2 tablespoons of water. Try not to make it too cold. You're going to be putting this in the microwave anyway, so the warmer the better. Step number 12, we are putting our microwavable bowl with our water, golden syrup and butter into the microwave for 20 seconds. If it needs more, add in 5-second increments and just check it in between. Step number 13, I've taken my wet ingredients out from the microwave and I'm going to give them a little bit of a stir. I probably could have put them in for another 5 seconds and you're welcome to do this, but I'm going to give them a really good thorough stirring. Step number 14, I'm using bicarbonate of soda or bicarb soda. I'm using half a teaspoon of this and I'm adding it to our mix. Because we used plain all-purpose flour, you have to add a raising agent for them to be able to rise and puff up a little bit. I'm then going to give it another really good stir before adding it to our dry ingredients. Now, when adding your wet ingredients to your dry ingredients, try to pour them directly into the center of your dry ingredients. Often people will make a well in the center, and this just helps the mix incorporate quicker and more easily. As I'm stirring, try and scrape down your bowl, try and get rid of any of the flour patches that clump together, and make sure your mix is really consistent. Now it's time to collect our baking trays that I've pre-wrapped with baking paper. I'm also collecting a teaspoon. That's going to help me scoop out portions of our Anzac mixture. Now these aren't perfect, but it just helps you keep them a little bit more consistent. Now I'm scooping up the mixture and placing it into the center palm of my hand, and using both my palms, I'm rolling my hands together to form sort of like a ball or a circle. Now as you make the mix, if you think you need to add a little bit more mixture to each of your Anzac bickies, you can just add some more to it. So the second ball there is a little bit small. I've realized it's a little bit smaller than what I'd like it to be, so I'm going to add a little bit more mixture to that biscuit. Now one of our last steps is to collect a regular fork from your cutlery drawer, and we're using the back of the fork to just press down very lightly our biscuits. This helps them expand a little bit and form their shape, and off they go to the oven to be cooked. Now it's time to put them in the oven, and they're going to cook for 15 minutes. Collect a drying rack and take your biscuits out of the oven. These are looking great. They're lovely, golden, still very chewy, so you have to be careful when transferring them onto the rack. Let them sit for a couple of minutes before transferring them.
And there you have it, our Anzac biscuit. Thanks for watching.